Well, welcome to One Foot in the Grave podcast. I'm Dan.
And I'm Jake.
Welcome to, I don't know what season we're on now.
It's somewhere between 2 and 30. All right, now
I
Jack.
went for a really nice motorcycle ride this. Oh,
Oh,
hello.
he insisted that I play this for you because he's not able to be on the One Foot in the Grave podcast
Okay, well,
tonight.
let's get it over with.
There you go.
Come on.
On today's podcast, we're discussing the strange death of Christopher Case.
Oh Lord.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, well, I went for a really nice motorcycle ride.
Today?
I sent you a photo. Yeah, I sent you a photo of where I was.
I thought you were with Sally today at Clear Mountain Restaurant.
No. No, I just went for a motorcycle ride. So the whole Sally thing, what happened there was she said that she was coming into the Port of Brisbane. And I was like, hold on.
What's going on?
She said she was coming into the Port of Brisbane, and I was like, okay, great. I'll come and meet you, and we'll grab a cup of coffee because the Port of Brisbane is like pretty nice. Like it's built up. It's got some nice things going on. And
I think I've had dinner there once in the distant past.
yeah, it's like a place to kind of be. So
Yeah.
I went there. Okay, so this is what I was looking for. First of all, let's play this because this is what Jack's thing just reminded me of. Okay, you ready?
Have you ever had a dream that you had you could do so you want him to do you so much you could do anything?
Yeah.
I don't know. He doesn't talk like that all the time, but just when we're recording.
Under pressure.
Yeah.
Under pressure. Yeah, so I went to the Port of Brisbane and she was on the Queen Mary, and I was like, okay, well, this will be kind of cool. Like it's this kind of famous ship and it's like high end and stuff. And I got there and I had to park kind of farther away because there were a lot of people there. So I had to walk and it was really hot and I got all sweaty. And I saw it and I was like, oh, well, there's the cruise ship. We'll just walk up to it and see where I'm supposed to go. And I walked up and it was like covered in rust. And there was like, it looked like it had shit coming out of it. And I was like, oh, this isn't as majestic as I had anticipated.
Is
So
this
I asked,
the Queen Mary look like that, or the port? look
yeah,
like
and
that?
no, the Queen Mary. And I asked, oh, that's my washing machine. I asked the security guard, I was like, so, is this the Queen Mary? Like, and he was like, no, this is a P&O cruise. The Queen Mary's on the other side of Brisbane. So I was like, okay. And then I went over the bridge and I got lost and I went over it 4 times and it's a $5 toll every time you do it. So finally I went to this place and it was like there was a grain silo and it was a tanker being filled with grain and little bits of grain were flying into my eyes. And I was like, this can't be right. But they just kept waving me on and I parked and I went into the terminal and there she was sitting. So we had like a half-hour chat and then she had to get back on the ship. And what's really funny is that she was like, she really wanted Mum to come on the ship with her. And
Yep.
she was like, we'll be able to go and we'll be able to visit Dan and blah, 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 blah. And that would have been Mum's visit. She would have been on the Queen Mary during the coronavirus outbreak. And we would have been able to see each other for maybe half an hour. And we wouldn't have been able to leave the silo. And the view was of a pile of grain. Tragedy.
Yeah, that's cruises are overrated anyway.
Oh,
But
I would never.
I would
I
never
mean,
get
I'm
on one.
sure-
I know Brent.
I'm
is-
sure that people have like really amazing times. It's just that the risk of not having an amazing time is just too great for me for the price.
I have this theory that there's this like a well kept secret that when you go on a cruise, What it's really all about is that it's a free for all for having extramarital sex, and that's why people go on it. Because I can't imagine putting myself in a situation where you're basically confined to a boat with other people, knowing that there's like a 1 in 5 chance there's going to be an outbreak of some horrendous viral illness.
Yeah, why are they so prone to getting like a spread of infection through? Because it's
guess
just like
'cause
going to
you're-
the shopping mall, right?
Well,
Like,
it's like sharing water. It's like a nursing home, but it floats. I
I know,
guess.
but like, but but like if you go to the mall, you're still touching a lot of things. Like people are still people. I just don't understand why cruise ships are so. Maybe it's just because the people who take cruises are like, fuck, I'm on vacation. I'm not washing my hands after I shit.
and the
Holiday
people preparing your food are like, fuck, I'm on a boat. Nobody's going to care if I wash my hands
Yeah.
before I prepare this food.
That's right. Or they're pumping like they wash their hands in the bilge.
Yeah.
No fresh water for you in the kitchen. You get bilge water.
Yeah. Better than what we had in the Philippines.
You went to the Philippines?
No,
What?
that's where everybody who works on the cruise ships is from.
Oh. Oh, gosh.
No, I'm sorry. I was just being sort of borderline racist again. Not racist, but racial. I don't know. I think
No,
it's
it's
okay
racist.
when it's an observation.
No. You had it right the first time.
Now, when I'm watching this, I have this line that keeps happening under my name on this is guest A to Z. And
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
this
I think
black
that's
line.
just yeah. That's
normal.
That's your cachet, and when it reaches the top, it's been cached, and then it will move on to the next one.
Oh, that's good. So it's not buffering and failing. That last
No, I
one,
mean, it might-
our last episode, it was a kind of a shame that the timing got so fucked up on it because
Yeah.
it was quite funny. I went back and listened to it.
Honest to goodness, for such a shitty podcast, I put way too much work into fixing that.
Yeah, you spent a lot of time on that. How many people
Should've
listened
just-
to it?
Who
You know
cares?
what? Maybe 5.
I don't know. I think any statistics that we have on that is me going back and listening to it over to see if it's fixed.
If it's fixed. My friend Dave wrote to me. Oh, I got some. Oh, sorry about that.
Oh God, goodness! You know,
No,
I'm using this
I'm on
new
the-
blue Yeti microphone that I purchased.
Oh, that's good.
It not only I don't know what the sound quality is for the listener, but for me, the sound quality coming from the headphones is very good. So I could actually hear each individual bubble of methane that just
It's not methane.
came
It's
out of you.
carbon dioxide. It's just from this carbonated peach drink. I'm 0 sugar, 0 calories, 0 caffeine. Definitely will give you diarrhea though.
Cancer. Oh.
First one, then the other. Dave was funny. He listened to the last one. I must have spent 20 minutes complaining about Greta Thunberg.
Oh. Oh, well, one of my friends put a what is it called, a petition around because some mining company has put pictures of Greta Thunberg in compromising positions.
Oh, not really. No, it's a like a cartoon. It's in Canada.
I
It's
know. Yeah,
stupid.
it's
Yeah.
stupid.
Well,
Yeah.
people, I mean, if they really did that, that's exactly what the people who put Greta out there want to see happen because then they want everyone to go, oh, well, oil and gas people are animals. They should just be shut out of the conversation
Yeah.
because they're advocates of child rape or whatever. But it's the exact thing that you would want to do and then blame other people for doing as well. I'm not saying it's a false flag because some people are fucking idiots, but the company denied that they made the stickers. They said,
Oh, I doubt the company made it. I bet like John from, Not Human Resources probably put it together.
yeah, moron. Some moron.
Yeah.
There are asshats everywhere. I mean, Greta she's giving me the shits. I just don't
Oh no. Oh no.
like Canada.
Okay. Oh please.
Canada right
Please
now.
tell me more.
No,
I'd
no.
love to know
Now listen.
more about your thoughts.
Canada right now is completely shut down. So this is really handy because there's also
Wait, because of coronavirus or?
no, because we had a pipeline, it got approved by the courts and stuff. And then there are two types of chiefs in this Wet'suwet'en Indian community. There's the elected officials, and that's
Mhm.
they all had a meeting, they agreed that it was going to be good for employment. They made a land deal with the government and the pipeline got approved. Then the hereditary chiefs, who you can just claim you're hereditary chief, got
Mm.
all up in arms because they weren't being cut in on the deal. I'm not, or whatever.
Was it
They
for
said it was
lobster or
no, this is for a pipeline, like an oil pipeline.
like a peace pipe?
Now who's the racial one? But anyway, so they so they started blockading all the railroads, and so there have been 5 train derailments in the last 3 days
Oh.
because they're like spiking the tracks. Presumably, nobody will investigate it because you're not allowed to investigate it. That would be racist. This is what my problem is here because it's
I'm sorry, my kids are also fighting in the background.
oh that's okay. Anyway,
It's been a very eventful 24 hours.
so all the trains are going off the rails. There are blockades everywhere. Nothing can get across the country in any way, and there's been this coronavirus outbreak, and there's a huge run on toilet paper.
Is that in there too?
Oh yeah. So you can't get toilet paper. What the fuck?
No, but in Canada as well? Or,
Yes.
Or is it just
Yeah.
in my neck of the woods?
Mostly the cities that have been affected, like Toronto, Vancouver, Edmonton. There's no
It's the
toilet
stupidest
paper
thing I've
available.
ever heard of. Like,
Just buy your normal amount of toilet paper. You're not going to die of a dirty ass. Well, you might
Have
die
you
of a
seen-
dirty ass, but coronavirus
but
doesn't
we're not
work
in a
that way.
third world country. We're like, if you ran out of
But
toilet paper,
now but the problem in Canada is we are essentially in a third world country because you can't get toilet paper to anybody, so they've run
well,
out.
I know, but like, everyone has a shower. If you were in dire straits, you would take your morning dump, and then you would jump in the shower and clean your ass.
I would start cutting up Chrissy's show towels into because they serve no other purpose.
Did you use the good towels on your ass?
I cut them into strips, dear. We're gonna
And
wipe
I
and
flushed
wash. No, we're gonna reuse like baby those washable cloth diapers. I mean, worst case scenario,
That's a vision.
you don't need toilet paper, and they're getting in fist fights in Australia over the toilet paper.
Oh, it is. But like people have got, so they come in packs of 24 and people have got like 4 of these packs of 24 in their cart and they won't give them to this little old ladies who are just sitting there and they're hitting each other about it.
So now
And-
here's the problem. Now you're in a situation. Say you run out of toilet paper. Are you going to go buy toilet paper, or are they going to be like, "You fucking bastard! How dare you buy toilet paper?"
Well, if
It'll
I
be
did
like
buy
Greta
toilet paper, though,
2.0.
I would buy one, like one package,
Yeah.
But
tell
you know
you,
what? I'm gonna
you know,
I'm gonna
the-
wait because what's gonna happen is then
They're
in a
going to
week's
mass
time-
produce toilet paper.
Yeah,
to
we're gonna
make
have
up
like
for
an oversupply, and then it's gonna be like $3 for a pack of 24, and I'll be like, yeah, sweet,
Told you.
yeah.
You know who's really probably quite pumped about this coronavirus is Greta herself, right? Because the more
No
of
one's
us
traveling.
die, well,
Oh, the less emissions we make. As an
exactly.
individual.
She's like,
Mm.
oh, that's great. Decreases pollution.
Yeah.
I know she's thinking it. I don't even have to wait for her to say something stupid like that. I know it's going to come
No,
up.
but no. What's actually going to happen is everyone's going to be like, "Oh, you can't drink the town water. Chlorine no
Boil it.
longer kills viruses." So
cut down trees to boil it.
It's going to be no. They'll boil it, but they'll also be like, "No, only drink bottled water.
Yeah.
Not the 4-liter kind that can become contaminated over time. It needs to be one-time use bottles."
You can boil your water, but unfortunately there's no power. So you're going to have to start a fire made of paper straws.
Yeah, it's a bit ridiculous.
The whole thing, it just is redonkulous. And I'm,
Last
of course,
night-
we're in Florida at the moment. So
Yeah.
when my internet eventually cuts out, as I'm sure it will, that's what's going on. But now I'm not sure if we're going to be able to fly home because they're starting to cancel flights and all that shit.
No, you'll be able to fly. I mean, you could drive home from.
Well, that's the thing. I might have to drive home.
You know that. Oh, my computer just turned off. Can
Uh-oh.
you still hear me?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I think
Yeah.
the screensaver just turned on.
Gee,
Oh, my
I got
goodness.
whiplash from that one.
That had relish on it. So last night, so every month, I have like this pretty much set appointment with the good folks at Emergency. So when Mum was here, Elijah, who's 5, choked on a fish bone and
Yes,
had to have the ambulance come out. So this time they were making a cake and he spilled hot butter for the icing all down his front, and we couldn't get on top of the pain. And the ambulance came out and they're like, "Oh, I thought it was going to be a muffler burn from your motorcycle." They know us that well that
Mom said Elijah's in an ambulance. He was burned, and I said, "Does Dan have to give them an address, or do they just know him by first name?"
You know what though? You know what they gave him? Like they've got this green whistle here, and I thought for sure that that's what they would give him. I don't know what the drug is in the green
Nitrous
whistle.
oxide.
No. It's not. But I don't know what it is. But you know, they gave him fentanyl intranasally.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Cha. Yeah, it certainly calmed him down.
Of course, he stole my wallet on the way out in order to go buy some more in the street corner.
Yeah, so that was our night. And we had people over. Now I sound like that kid from that interview, but we had people over to say thank you for helping us. You know, we had our floors redone,
Oh yeah,
and they ended up having to cook and, and everything and do all the work because
and
we had
also
to
the
go.
butter ate through the varnish on the floor.
The new flow. No.
So they helped you redo the floors.
Well, we had skirting boards, and apparently
I don't know what that
it's
is.
a bit of the boards that are above your floor. Like, you know, you've got sconces on your ceiling. I don't know,
Yeah,
but these are the ones on the floor,
like on the
by your
walls
feet.
around the edges.
On the walls. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, they helped us take them off from Elijah's room because he had what was called it's a floating floor, so it has to come up. And then they took the carpet up in our room, and we also had a floating floor underneath there.
What's a floating floor?
It's like it's fake
Floorboards.
wood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know the stuff that you put on textbooks to keep them from getting crinkled and stuff. It's like a plastic coating.
Oh yeah.
So it's like a piece of fiberboard with that plastic stuff over the top that looked like wood. So it's cheap.
I would have never known. I thought they were wood floors. What did you
Yeah,
put down
no.
instead?
It kind of the same. Linoleum.
Good for you.
Linoleum planks that look like wood but don't get dented or fade or anything. But while I was taking, because then the guy who does the floors couldn't do that because you are likely to put holes in the walls. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll do it. I did put a hole in the wall. But I've got experience with holes in the wall. So I got the fiberglass tape and I taped it all up, and then I put the sealant over the top, like the plaster over the top.
Yep.
And I was letting it dry. And then you sand it down so it's nice and smooth. Erin decided that she was going to paint the walls, and then so she painted the walls and painted over where I had spackled before I
you
sanded
sanded
it
it?
down. So now it looks like I've got like a waffle stuck to the wall.
Just somebody
Like,
painted
oh.
over a waffle that was
A
stuck.
waffle. Yeah. Yeah. So
Man,
I've
you're pretty handy
it's
though. If you have any
nope,
extra paint, you could just sand it and paint over that spot again.
no, it's not going to happen.
No, it's just
I've got
waffle
waffle
wall.
wall the waffle wall.
I don't. I'm not very good at obviously at DIY stuff. I don't
Hmm.
do. I mean, I do very little anyway. Chrissy and I tried to build a shed for Jack. Little,
You did?
little. Yes, we tried to build a little fort for him, and I
Like a
built
cubby.
no for the backyard out in the woods. Thought it'd be fun. It was like, and I took my inspiration from a lean-to.
Noel Winters?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I thought it'll be really easy because I don't have to do a peaked roof. I'll just do like a flat roof, but higher on one side and coming down, so the snow falls
Yeah,
off
yeah.
or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, I built a really good floor because I looked up how to build the floor, but then I figured what I would do is just nail stuff to the side of the floor to use as a wall.
Uh-oh.
That's not how it works.
That's
You
not
need-
how walls
the
work.
wall has to be integral with the floor, and I never thought of that. So when I did it, I put the walls up and the roof over the top, and then we
Like
had
a
to
house of cards.
it works because it's heavy.
A small
With,
gust will just blow it apart.
I used a ton of wood screws, right? These are really long wood screws. So then, but I had to build it in the yard and then shuffle it into the place in the woods where it was going to be for Jack. But I didn't think it through. It was about 300 pounds. So I needed Chrissy to help me shuffle it. So she was on one end and I was on the other. And we took 2 steps with it and the roof collapsed on her. And the walls all came down. And not only did the wood hit her like smack in the forehead, but I just missed putting her eye out because of all the screws that came out and ripped through and were sticking out at her. It was like a weapon.
Did you say, what did you do?
Yeah, I started swearing at her.
Oh,
an
for fuck's sake,
abusive-
Chrissy.
Chrissy, what the fuck? What the fuck, Chrissy?
I told you to lift on 3.
Gentle. I said gentle. It was
Yeah,
such
we're
a
not
piece
meant
of
for
shit.
that life.
No, and then I had a shed. So I also wanted a storage shed for our motorcycles.
A sword.
Storage shed. Sorry,
Oh, storage.
I'm on the Britney Spears style headphone today.
Oh, yeah.
But I wanted this storage shed to go in. And when we installed it, so we had it installed, they had to come in with a crane and like insert it. So this is how bad at DIY I am. This was a crazy story too. The guy built the shed in his yard. It was the first one he'd ever built. And then he was selling it for $3,000 because it was a little bit off. Like he didn't put any tolerances in.
Oh,
So
is this
as
the
soon
one,
as the
yeah,
wood
this
swelled,
is the one that I had to come and help fix.
yeah, you were there. Wait, you were
Mm-hmm.
anyway. So a couple of things happened.
You
This
paid
is-
$3,000 for that?
To get one at like Kent's Building Supplies is like $8,500. So
To get one to get one
Anyway.
to get one at Costco though, it's only like 1,800.
no, the plastic ones are still about $3,000, but they don't last the winter. So I wanted one. This one had trellises in the roof. And anyway, it doesn't matter. But the point of the story was I'm so bad at DIY that I hired another guy to level the ground, and I brought in payloads of dirt for him. And he said, "What size is the shed?" I said, "It's 12 by 10. So he built it up for a 12 by 10 shed. And when it arrived, it was 12 by 12. And so after you were there and you dremeled the top of the door for me so we could close the door and all that stuff, it was a really windy day, and I was worried about the shed. And I went out and thankfully I wheeled the motorcycles out of it because it looked a little bit off. And then when I stood in one corner, the whole shed tipped on its side.
What?
Because it was a 12 by 12 shed and it was overhanging by 2 feet.
Yeah.
And the whole thing went up to about a 45-degree angle. and then I ran to the other side and it crashed down flat again. So my fix was just to wedge a bunch of garbage under it so that so it won't move in the wind.
Oh gosh, and Chrissy's still under there.
Yeah, yeah. It was. Anyway, I'm not a home repair guy. And people ask me for measurements of things. I was looking at stoves at Best Buy because I was like, our stove is kind of on the fritz.
Like your oven?
Well, we have a range top and oven, so this was like an inset oven. And I said, "Yeah, I'd like to have a look at the ovens that you guys have." And he said, "Okay, well, what size?" I said, "Just oven size." Didn't know they came in multiple sizes.
A roast beef.
Yeah.
Roast beef. Oh, sorry, we've only got. Oh no, I won't say that.
It all worked out. It was a blown fuse in my fuse box. I didn't realize you needed 2 for the oven because it would just take a long time to warm
You're
up.
still on fuses at your house?
Well, you know, the switches. Yeah.
Much better than a fuse.
Mom's house is still on fuses, and I'm terrified that one day she's going to lose. She's going to blow one, and I'm going to have to figure out how to replace.
You screw them in like a light bulb, but the real issue is do they make them anymore?
I will just replace this vacuum tube for you, Mrs. S.
Sorry, Mom, we ran out of fuses, so I've just used a bent fork.
Just a rolled up piece of tinfoil. That ought to do it. Complete the circuit.
That should do it. Yeah. There you go. So what are you going to talk about today?
Yeah. So,
wait, Jack told us. Wait, let me see if I can remember what he said. You are going to talk about. Let's just see.
Have you ever had a dream that you could do so you want him to do you so much you could do anything?
Murder.
Yeah.
On today's podcast, we're discussing the strange death of Christopher Case.
It sounds like Porky the Pig. I love That's all.
Christopher Case.
Uh-oh. Anyway, no, he's a sweet kid. I don't know why he talks like that when he's on the podcast. Anyway,
all
Christopher
kids do,
Case.
obviously.
Yeah, Christopher Case. So this is kind of a
the
short
retarded
one.
ones.
Hey,
just kidding.
he's got some red flags. Anyway,
I don't know where he would get it from.
I'm just teasing Jack. He does listen to these. Christopher Case. So this is a very short, mysterious case, and it's not like any of the other ones we've done. This is about.
It's good.
It is true. It isn't make believe, but I got some theories on it. Anyway, we're going back in the time machine to April of 1991. There's a fellow named Christopher Case, lived in Seattle, and studied ancient music. And he worked for the Muzak company. And if you don't know Muzak, those
elevator
are the people.
meter.
Yeah.
Elevator meter.
Have you ever had a dream that had a dream
That's all, folks.
that he could do you and anything is possible? So yeah, he does the Kenny G kind of music, but he studied ancient music, and I think specifically ancient Egyptian music.
Wait, ancient Egyptian music?
Well, those pyramids were huge, so they had to listen to something on the elevators.
Yeah, that's right.
Walk like an Egyptian. I don't know how that goes, actually. I just know the name of the song.
Ra is an awesome Ra. And then they just like turn that into music.
That's where all our hymns come from. We stole them from the Egyptians.
The sun, he is our Ra.
The sun, he is our Ra. Oh God. I'm trying to think of more of them that I can do easily, but it's not easy. I'm trying to think of something that rhymes with grace that's Egyptian, but I can't think of anything. Anyway.
Papyrus.
Amazing papyrus.
How
They-
sweet the smell.
Yes. Anyway, back to the story. Now I'm trying to think of something that rhymes with hieroglyphics that's in a hymn that we do at church.
Terrifics.
Hieroglyphics fire, my heart's one desire.
No.
I choose to be a mummy.
Or, well, I mean, there's always this classic. Rah, rah, oh la la. Rah, rah, oh mama. Rah, rah, he's our God.
Let's sacrifice a virgin. Dun, 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 dun. I don't think they did that in Egypt. I don't know. Anyway, they
Paint my eyebrows.
rolling, rolling, rolling. Keep those big rocks rolling. Did you know they used to move logs? Like they had the slaves. They rolled all those stones for the pyramids on logs, and they would just, once it was over the first set of logs, and they'd grab the one from behind and move it in front. They did it one stone at a time. There you go.
Yeah, it's more the getting it up the pyramid, I think, would be the bigger challenge.
I think if you throw enough slaves at the problem, it's not a problem. I don't mean, why do I sound like such a... I spent 1 week in the South and now I sound like a racist. I'm not promoting you to get slaves. That was just an Egypt joke. Anyway, God. Sorry.
Oh.
They're all getting the coronavirus anyway. So are we.
Well, they can all join the Hawk God chorus.
Yeah. How many of the two of us are still going to be alive after coronavirus? Statistically, we should be fine. Mom might be.
Statistically.
Mom might be in some kind of trouble.
I know. Well, I was like, metabolically, my age is quite a bit older. So,
Well, you keep hearing about healthcare workers dying, and I'm like, man, I'm the least healthy healthcare worker in my entire hospital. There's no way I'm going to survive this thing.
no, I'm sure that there's like some pretty fat nurses.
Yeah, but you saw that doctor who discovered it in China died, and I was like, man, he was in way better
Well,
shape
I
than
know.
me.
Yeah. The person who discovers these things always dies, though, because, especially if it's in China, because
In the movies.
murder.
Because of the movies. Yeah. Yeah, it's a scary, I don't know. Yeah, although, did you see the doctor in Australia was working and she had coronavirus, and they're like dragging her through the mud. She's in the newspapers and stuff, and her symptoms were a runny nose. It's like, I've had a runny nose since like 2012 when my son was born. I wouldn't know if that was all I had. I think there's a lot of...
Yeah. Well, I sent you the photo of me at the doctor's office because I've got a cough and a bit of a fever. My chest is sore.
Did they test you?
And no, of course not. Ignorance is bliss. I was like, I gotta go to work on Monday. I can't miss any days. But they made me wear a mask, and then it was like, I don't know any other analogies that only I like people with. You ever have no dreams? People with a scientific background, but when you have that area of inhibition around a antibiotic disc on a petri plate.
Yes.
That was what the people did in the doctor's office to me.
That's great.
So I sat down. They said, "Oh, Dan, can you put on this mask?" And I was like, "Oh, yes, it's not." I said out loud, "It's not Corona." And they're like, "Oh no, we're just being extra safe." And I was like, "Okay," and I put it on. Everyone stood up and moved away from me. And then the doctor was like, "Yeah, it's probably not coronavirus." She said, "You can take your mask off." And I said, "When I open the door, though, do you want me to say, so it's definitely Corona?" And she was like, "Oh my god, no! That would cause mass hysteria."
It is a little bit hysterical what's happening. The toilet paper fights. I don't know why people aren't fighting over the other stuff that you actually might need.
And I've stocked up on paracetamol and Nurofen.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Get
I'm
your
like,
Tylenol.
I am not going to feel bad.
I know.
I am going to have all the drugs.
Get your
Thank you very
Tylenol, your Sprite. I mean, I don't know what else you need.
Ginger ale.
Yeah. Anyway, Christopher Case, he was in Muzak, and in April of 1991, his friends
That did take a turn.
Yeah.
Muzak turned into a whole diverted conversation.
That's really this podcast in a nutshell. There's people are like, I just want the fucking story. It sounded
They
interesting.
don't, though. No one cares.
No one cares
You know,
because nobody listens.
The story is, the thing that we do it for, but the people, anyone who actually listens to this podcast is not like, I'm so into true crime. These two brothers cover it so well. It's so insightful.
It's just the facts. I don't even know how their research is amazing.
Impeccable. Sound quality to die. It's to die for.
I researched today's case on Reddit.
I love Reddit.
It's pretty good.
That's it.
Are we still good? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So this Muzak executive in April of
Muzak, Egyptians. Yeah.
Egyptians, Muzak. April of 1991, his friends began receiving panicked phone calls that he was afraid and he was saying he was likely to die. He said he had been cursed and that they could kill him. They in quotation marks. He didn't say quotation marks, they quotation marks, but that's how I wrote it. For some reason, now when I try to scroll on my notes, it just draws on them. Fuck. This podcast is cursed. He stated that they were cutting him at night. He had no history of mental health issues and was a fitness enthusiast. On April 18th, 1991, Christopher Case failed to show up for work. Because of the phone calls, friends called the police. There was no answer when the police went to the door, and they didn't want to break the door down on their first visit, so they returned the following day for another wellness check, and this time when he didn't answer, they forced the door. Inside, his dead body was fully clothed and found kneeling in the bathtub.
Shit, sorry.
Oh.
Stub my toe.
Dang.
They say that you can't stub your own toe, but I just did.
I stubbed my toe on my other foot. Around the body were 10 candles and an array of crucifixes. Crucifixes filled the apartment along with amulets and talismans. I thought it would be talisman, but it isn't. How funny, by the way, was that conversation on Twitter about that's okay, another political correct thing. Just a side note, they want to change the word seaman when referring to like people in the Navy in Canada because they say it's too gender specific. And I had suggested they just call them jizz to avoid confusion. And then you wrote something about the initials.
Cadets undefined nautical team.
Yes, that's right. That's right. But you need an anagram for it.
You'll need an anagram for it.
And
don't know what it would be.
I thought maybe the tactical water assault team would be another good one. Anyway, the walls of the apartment had been lined with salt, and geometric pattern of salt had been laid at the entryway. This is when they found
Have
the
you
body.
seen the Skeleton Key?
No.
It's good. You should watch it.
We got to do more Twitter live movie reviews,
I've
especially
watched,
now that I'm on vacation.
I
I
watched a
could
scary
actually
movie
watch one
recently.
with you.
I've canceled my Foxtel, which is like cable television here,
Okay.
because everything is on Netflix, and I they stopped having the Disney Channel, and that's what the kids watched on Foxtel.
Yeah, but now there's
So I
Disney
just got-
TV.
Well, I know. So I had to get Disney Plus.
Right.
So I was going to be paying for Netflix, Disney Plus, and Foxtel, which all has the same stuff.
Yeah.
And so I just canceled Foxtel.
Well, that's good.
Oh, give me. Erin wants to borrow me for a minute, but what I'll say to her is, "Give me 5."
Yeah, yeah.
And
I'm
then
getting
we'll
close.
be done. She rolled her eyes and walked away.
Perfect.
Sign of a healthy marriage.
That's a sign of acceptance. Um,
Well, she knows that 5 minutes really means like 15. But
that's perfect.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
She
I was
wasn't
just
busy
thinking that
doing
we could do
important
another
things.
Twitter. Oh, fuck.
Twitty.
Dream that. Do you ever dream? I was thinking we could do a Twitter live movie, and I could actually watch it for once. Now there's a scary movie by the same people who did Hereditary that's about something about dancing around the maypole, and I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Summer or something.
Midsummer.
Yeah.
That's what it's
Well
called.
done.
Back here live at the Waterfront Village with my friend, the zombie, Jonathan. You're looking good. Jonathan just got an awesome face paint job. What do you think?
I like turtles.
All right, you're a great zombie.
That's my favorite thing. Oh, he's a great zombie. Jonathan, what do you think about being a zombie? I like turtles. Live TV.
Awesome.
You beauty.
I like the Australian guy who busted his plugger.
Oh yeah. If you Google the most Australian interview ever, you'll get that one. It's fantastic.
I would have chased him further, but I busted me plugger. Anyway,
And he belongs to a fishing group called Mutdangers. Oh shit! I fucking snorted so loud. This new
That's
microphone
funny.
picks up everything.
that was good. Anyway,
Okay, anyway.
so this guy was dead in his bathtub. There were crucifixes everywhere. There was salt all around the room, and like there was a geometric pattern of salt in the doorway, probably a pentagram. Who knows? A series of letters had been left behind. In them, Chris Case explained that he had gone to San Francisco on a business trip and met an older lady, 20 years his senior, who was also studying ancient Egyptian music. The two had a long conversation, at the end of which she made a pass at him. He declined, saying she unnerved him, which is a terrible way to decline somebody. You just say, "Oh, I'm seeing someone at home." You don't have to say, "I find you unnerving."
I find you unnerving, sir. She was like, he made a real asp of himself.
Yeah,
Cleopatra.
very
Asp.
very Egyptian. After he told her that she was unnerving him, she became furious. She stated that she was a witch and would put a curse on him. At first, he
I put a spell on you.
yeah. Well, that's what's that guy's name? Oh, damn! It's like not Howlin' Wolf, but
Waylon Smithers.
Screaming Jay Hawkins. Love that guy
Mhm.
from the 50s. Anyway, he was cool. I think his stage act, he used to climb out of a coffin. Anyway, at first, Mr. Case dismissed the witchery angle, but when strange phenomena began happening in his home, he began to take it seriously. He saw shadow figures. He woke up with strange cuts and bruises.
They're the ones
including-
that freak me out the most. You know that I kind of think that shadow figures exist.
Well, they certainly exist when there's a light source between you and your wall. My shadow
No, if
figure
you
is
go on YouTube
scratching
and look
his
up shadow
neck.
figures, they're things that really freak me out. I mean, again, it's on YouTube, and again, they made orcs 25 years ago, but
Yeah, yeah,
putting
it's
it out
not.
there.
Do you remember when they did like after Michael Jackson died? They did this like walk around of his house, and then YouTube exploded because everyone was sure they saw like a shadow of Michael Jackson like holding his hat. But to
Oh.
me, it didn't look like anything.
Well, and also he's the kind of guy that would be like, "Hey, draw my shadow."
Yeah, just
With
put
me
my shadow
holding
on.
my hat.
Do you want us to do it in the pose you're in at the moment? Exactly this pose. Should we put the kid in it too?
No, no, make the kid my hat.
Yeah. I'll wear them on my face. That's,
Oh my God.
that sounded way worse than I was. Sorry.
Oh my
That's
God.
not, yeah, that went super gross. Anyway, that wasn't what I meant. I meant like to put the kid on his head, make it like a hat, and then I said face, and then that was terrible.
Yeah, once face
Apologies.
is involved, face
There's not
becomes a
much.
very dirty word when you're talking about Michael Jackson and children.
Although Michael Jackson's face itself didn't have a
Fucked
lot
up.
of
Yeah.
real features to it.
Mm.
Did you ever see the South
Yeah.
Park where he moves into the neighborhood with Blanket and what are the kids' names? Blanket and
Yeah, Apple or something.
Michael Jr. or something. Anyway, come on, Blanket.
Speaking of
come
blanket,
play with these
do you
kids.
remember when the SARS-infected blankets?
Oh yeah, I was thinking of that episode the other day because of the blockades. I was like the red man's greed or whatever, that the Indians were going to start giving us all coronavirus infected blankets next to turn it around.
Anyway, short
Sorry,
story
this is-
long.
Yeah, this is so awful. What, man, this is my worst performance. I apologize to everyone. Plus, I think Lisa's husband is like a Indian dude, right? Sorry, Lisa.
Oh,
We don't have a
no,
problem.
I think it's
It's just the blockades. We're not. It's not a
Native
racial thing.
American, I believe.
Yeah, Native American. I'm sorry, Lisa. But why can't we all just get along, like the man said?
I think she also stopped listening. I'm all about AJ Long. Don't know who that is,
Yes, you do.
but
It's Amy.
oh, from church.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
know-
awesome.
Oh, you know what else is funny? So we had Jim and Marge here the other day, and
Hey,
they were like,
now that makes a lot more sense. Hey, that's really great.
yeah. We had Jim and Marge here, and they were like, Pastor Rob really loves your guys' podcast. He listens all the
Oh,
time. And I was
no.
like, you got to be kidding me. Really?
Oh no.
He said,
Oh no.
now he told us it was a little bit spicy, but that we should.
Well, I mean, it's the podcast for the people.
Yeah. Man, I feel terrible. I've been saying like the word Indian meaning Native American. I'm sorry. Well, what can you do?
Well, what I think I've mentioned this before, but Dad's dad was in the army, and it must have been World War II. Am I right?
Yes.
And he was in the tank,
Yes.
whatever you call it, brigade. I don't know. And he was blown up, and his guts were everywhere. And Dad told me that Indians found him and put all his guts back in and patched him all up.
Yes.
And for forever, and still to right now, I'm not 100% sure if he meant like Indians as in people from India,
Yeah. I
or
think it was
Native
like
Americans, and it was like the
No, I think it was the
Apache
British.
Indians.
No, like Indian, like from India. I think
See, I really like it. I like the story a lot better if it was like Navajo Indians who.
that would be
you know,
cool.
That's what I tell people.
I'm not saying people from India aren't cool, but why would
No,
there
I know.
be
I just-
people like?
I just really like the idea that a tribe of like Native American Indians.
No, there weren't tribes
came
in
across-
Italy. Tribes
Oh,
of Native
see,
American-
again, I kind of yeah.
They
I
came
guess
on
that makes a
horseback
lot more
across the
sense.
hill
I
from their
didn't
tent
make
village.
the connection. I didn't make the connection as a child that this happened in Italy and not just somewhere in Nova Scotia.
Well, wait. As a child, you're almost 40.
I know, but in my head, like when something is true to you for so long that it just is the way that it is, until you realize that it's not that. I've just had that moment of realization that his tank wasn't blown up in Nova Scotia. He was overseas in the actual war.
Why would his tank was blown up when another tank shot it in Nova Scotia?
In Nova Scotia. And like in my mind's eye, he's sitting in a ditch. Like it's not like a war zone. He's in a ditch.
On the
He's
side of the
covered
road.
like by leaves and stuff.
Yeah.
And a tribe of Native American Indians come across him and are like, "Oh, sir, we can help you," and carry him out, take him to the Pugwash Hospital, where like this, yeah. I realized how stupid it is now.
I found his letters to his mother. They were in Dad's office, and I was reading them. And there's letters, and then one a week, and then there's a 3-week break, and then there's a letter saying, "I'm in the hospital. My guts have been sewn back in. Don't worry."
Don't worry.
Oh man.
There's only a little bit of shrapnel. If only they had that, Iron Man technology to keep the shrapnel from migrating to anywhere important back then.
Now everybody else
But
in
him
his
and
tank died.
him and I, the only swans that I know of that have tattoos. So if indeed I do go to hell for having this tattoo,
You'll have
hopefully
good company.
Rob, pray for me. I'll at least have some family members there.
I forgot that you had a tattoo. Did you get another tattoo as well?
No, I think I'll just stick to the one until Mum dies, of course. Then I'll have to get a lady gnome.
Shorter beards.
Yes. Indistinguishable from the male gnomes. Except Mum, like Dad and I fish. I don't know what, like maybe I'll just have a gnome on her iPad.
watching Netflix and complaining.
Well, Mum doesn't even watch Netflix. She does wordscapes. So I have to be like a gnome on a tablet with wordscapes.
A gnome sitting alone on a lazy boy in an empty house.
No. But yeah, no, I think that's about right.
Yeah. We've
Or
been
like
looking
maybe
at
making a quilt. Maybe making a quilt. She does the quilting.
She doesn't really though.
She used to.
She used to. She used to do a lot of things.
Or you know what, going for a
Including
walk
smile.
in the woods.
Yeah.
Or doing the wiggle woggle down the ski hill. Actually, that would be a good one. I reckon a gnome doing like full snowplow, not a cool gnome.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, just going very slowly down a ski hill. Yeah. Like get that one on my forehead.
You should do it with their tits out.
Oh my God. Or reading a book. That's what Mum loves to do. It would be a gnome reading a book.
She could be sending a Bible verse. It would be
Pushing send. You know what though? That is the only connection that I have currently to any sort of religion.
Well,
So-
what happened to the church you guys used to go to where you got married and the pastor wore Birkenstock?
Oh well, it's really nice, but
It's too far.
the day service is not really nice. It's very crowded. It's very hot, and they play the rock music,
Oh, yeah.
And at nighttime they have lay preachers, and sometimes that like an actual priest or whatever they call them in the Uniting Church, pastor. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
They'll preach to us.
United.
But it was
United
really nice
Church.
at nighttime. Yeah, it was really nice at nighttime, but the kids just don't cope.
Yeah.
It would be a disaster.
Yeah. Now, Jack will not go to Sunday school. When we take him to church,
Well, good. I
has to
don't
sit
think
with you through
it's
the whole
the
thing.
days of Sunday school are over unless you don't care for your children.
What do you mean?
Well, because the pedophilia.
Oh, for God's sake. It's all women who are running it. It looks like a lot of fun. They have Fig Newtons. I mean, there's all kinds of activities. And then I always think...
Well, I know,
I'd be-
but that's in St. John. That's in St. John.
Yeah,
where,
yeah.
Like, it's a small town. You know everybody who's running the church.
In St. John, the
Here-
pedophiles are concentrated in the city council.
Halfway houses.
They're not...
Yeah.
They don't even bother in the church. They're like, oh, it's trusting community. We'll just be his town councilman. Man, that guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, Christopher Case saw shadow figures in his room.
Yeah. Shadow figures. They scare me. They
He woke
legit
up
do.
with strange cuts and bruises, including one night he woke up and all his fingertips had cuts in them. Now, this is according How much of it's bullshit? I don't know. But the body, the salt, all that stuff is definitely true. And there are letters explaining this. He began researching the occult for ways to protect himself. He'd gone to this, I think of it as like the Catholic bookstore, and asked the bookstore owner for advice, and the guy had sold him all these crucifixes. Now, to me,
Upselling.
when the
Upselling.
advice involved buying more stuff, I think
I was
just
wondering
about
if
4
you
or
have
5
any books on the
crucifixes
occult.
short.
Yeah, we do. We do have the books on the occult here. I'll get that. It's called the Stigmata for Dummies, and then we've got.
You're going to need at least 40, 45 crucifixes in your house.
Yeah, crucifixes. Do you have the holy salt?
Yeah. Do
No?
you have time?
Okay.
Okay, just let me make a quick run to the Safeway, and
Yeah.
and
And then I'll
we'll
bless
have
the
some
salt.
salt in
Yeah.
stock.
Yeah.
The Christopher.
Are you a clergyman? Can you bless salt? No. I'll stop on the way. I'll stop on the way. Do they make blessed salt? I don't know.
Look,
Anyway,
I'm just a lay person business owner. I own the Catholic bookstore and Venus Envy sex toy shop. just I don't know why.
I
Just
was
I know what
wondering why
sells.
these crucifixes are just dildos taped together.
Balls always to the left.
They don't say spectacles, testicles, wallet, and watch for nothing.
Oh man, sorry, Jesus.
Yep, sorry.
That was so inappropriate.
Sorry about that. Sorry.
So today's episode, I have to apologize to the Indians and to Jesus himself. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh,
Um,
oh my gosh.
well, I'm just saying, I made a couple slip ups here. Also to Rob, who had to listen to that. He's probably shaking his
He
head.
probably doesn't. He probably doesn't listen anymore.
Right. Lisa's quit. Lisa's quit. And
Yeah,
she
he's
was
like, I'm out.
and
I can't do this.
but you know what? After she sent her letter, which was very touching, and which I ruined by making a terrible, terrible joke. I started thinking maybe she actually was listening to this for the occult stories, the supernatural stories,
yeah.
that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And I shouldn't have made fun of her letter. Yeah, so I'll apologize to her too. It's the apology episode.
Well, I mean, the disclaimer is that we don't believe in that bullshit, and
That's true.
except for the shadow people.
Except
now,
you
of course.
apparently believe in shadow people.
Yeah, well, they just freak me out.
Okay.
The idea of the shadow people freak me out. But I sit here and I watch so many of these movies that are supposed to be scary, and I sit there, and the great thing about them is that you can only partially pay attention.
Yeah. They're all the same.
And they're all the same.
Yeah.
It's not scary to me.
Anyway,
if they
yeah.
made one called Shadow People, watching you in your bedroom, I'd be like, okay, this is terrifying.
Yeah, that would be the scariest movie. Now, they don't do it because there's that's not what people pay for. They pay to see the same shit over and over again. But if you made a movie that was just, it was like the screen was black for 15 seconds and then there was just a shadow person watching you from your TV for the next 2 hours, and it got creepier and creepier, that would be pretty scary.
I watched Poltergeist. I watched the old one and the new one. Yeah,
I always thought it was
scary.
pronounced poltergeist.
Poltergeist.
It's a German word.
Anyway,
It
the guy
means
got murdered. Tell me,
chicken.
he was in the bathtub covered in salt.
Yeah.
He got assaulted.
2 peanuts walked down the road and one was assaulted. So he bought all these crucifixes from the Catholic store. At the time of his autopsy,
That's
it
right,
showed the
absolutely.
cause of death to be acute myocarditis. And people are like, oh, well, he had a heart attack. But that's not acute myocarditis. Acute myocarditis is
It's not cute
inflammation.
at all.
Inflammation of the muscle in your heart. A myocardial infarct is a heart attack. So, but that takes me back. You know how I said he was a fitness guy? This was the early 90s. I don't know if he was taking a lot of supplements or what was going on with that. But maybe he just kind of got into this loop of like taking too much creatine and not sleeping and
Well, no,
sort of
but
maybe developing
what's
some
more
kind of
likely to
mental
happen
illness. at the
If
same
it is
time.
associated with exercise, it might be that he had a bacterial infection or he was viremic, and then he continued to exercise, and the increased exercise increased blood flow to his heart muscle, and then the virus sort of took hold inside that muscle,
Yeah.
and then endocarditis.
Now, I don't think there was ever any like police questioning of the lady who claimed to be a witch or anything like that, but I couldn't even find her name.
Mm.
So how much of it's true, I don't know. But I think the dead body, the salt, the crucifixes, all that stuff is true. So anyway,
Well, you must watch The Skeleton Key.
maybe I will. Was that a Stephen King book?
I don't know. I'm going to finish with okay, so I woke up after I had this really realistic dream, and I was like, that was so fucked up. I've got to write this down. So these are my notes that I wrote down after I woke up. Curtain veil, transport to one place. TV is like a mirror. Telekinesis, learning. Goes bad when other two start making more curtains and won't tell me how to make the curtains. Had to move first one when the house flooded. Treehouse had a leaking roof. Koala that was pig. Skiing. Dad. The end.
Well, that just about summarizes it. Have a great week, everybody.
Thanks for listening.
Now that we know we can do
Talk to
this,
you.
we should do another one next week. I'm on vacation, so I can put together a case.
Okay. Well, I'll be here. I don't work on the weekends.
Perfect. Awesome.
All right. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye, guys.